Hi everybody and welcome back. Well, went out to BTC, reason being, Pennines closed. Another fishery I wanted to go to didn't open until 10 o'clock and it was a few miles away. I've never fished my favourite fly here, but on Tuesday and today I did so with great results. Let's roll the intro.
We're on. Yes, good one. Good call.
So I fished twice this week at BTC, Tuesday morning and Thursday morning, between about 9:30 and 12 o'clock. As I said, I've never fished this fly here before, and I started to fish it late on the Tuesday and had a really nice fish out. But I also fished it in the last hour here on Thursday, and within a 40-minute period, I had myself 3 decent fish, and the tactics were totally different of how I fish it at my local water. Double Bibio. I fish it at RFF as a duo on an intermediate line, but it's quite shallow here, so I put one at 14 foot and I put the dropper at 8 foot, fished it out and brought it back on a very slow retrieve. In fact, on this occasion it hit the water, I'd give it 1 or 2 pulls to straighten the line out, change the rod in my hands, and bang, fish took it. Now this part of the video was filmed on Tuesday, absolutely blowing a gale. I think there was only about 3 or 4 of us actually on the water. Put myself on the far bank so I had the wind behind me. And I was fishing beetles and emergers because there were a few fish topping, but it wasn't working. And that's when I had the idea, well, try a couple of bibios and just tweak them back, as my friend says. And it paid off. However, on both occasions, Tuesday and today, I was only going to be here for a couple of hours. Although I've got 4 weeks off, I have other things to do. As I said, Pennine's been closed now and is looking after his fish. Last time it was closed for about 7 weeks. Another fishery I wanted to go to, on a conversation with them, they said that they didn't open till 10 o'clock. And I went, alright, well, that's no good to me. But this little fish here, it was only about 2.5, 3 pound.
I've got 2 on.
It was ragging me around. So let's get this one netted and let's move on to today's activities. So this is from today's activity, and the only thing I can say, I had the whole place to myself. So nothing had been happening up to about 11:30. I decided then, floating line, 2 bibios, one at 14, one at 8, and I was just going to slowly figure 8 them back. I'd actually said to myself, it's 11:30 now, if we don't catch we're going to bugger off. Everything changed. For that 40 minutes, that's when all the fish came. Floating line, double bibio.
We're on.
So that really took me by surprise how quickly it actually took. And as I said, it took the top dropper. Now, these bibios, I've got 4 variants. I had about 50 each of them made for me. I could tie a lot of flies, but bibios, there's only one person I go to. I'd only just been speaking to one other club member who was walking his dog. He said it had been a bit of a tough mid-season summer fishing here. He'd not been for a couple of weeks and he wasn't going to come again until the water had risen. In fact, I was unprepared for it. I'd not even got my net in position. You'll see on some of the videos I actually took my fly jacket off. I was just fishing as I were, au naturel. But no, really made up for it. As I said, nice floating line and a really, really slow figure of 8. In one of the fish that comes up, I actually just let it drift in the wind and the fish took it. A bit like buzzer fishing. But anyway, let's land this one. Let's crack on. I was going to put my waders on. I did actually have them in the car because I didn't really expect to start netting today for some reason. I only went out because I had the opportunity to go out. Don't turn down an opportunity when you've got it. But this was a really nice fish. Hard fighting for what they are. They fight about double their weight. Before we get on to the next one, Thomas was doing all the filming, as I said, and he managed to get my leather in the picture. And just as I turned to look at him, I got photobombed by a fish. You'll see it. I thought it was funny. Thomas does enjoy coming out with me. I've actually said to him, look, I'll set you up here. This is how you do it. He always gives it, nah, I'm happy with my dick on. Anyway, on to the next fish. This is where I just decided to let it drift.
I think I might just let this one drift a bit. Good call.
The only problem I had with not being in the water when fishing and allowing the line to lay in the water was because I was on the bank. There's lots and lots of broken stones and slates, and you do move around. And although on a few occasions I didn't get the line on the reel, it was on the floor and it was getting caught on the floor. So I'm going to have to check it later because I'm sure there's a few cuts in the line itself. But might be a good excuse to get some new lines. I've actually had these for a couple of years. They still do well, but as I say, no harm in buying a few new ones. Tom Bell's got a new range coming out soon. Oh, they're out. They seem quite reasonable. Anybody got any? Recommend them? As I say, all these fish were taken within about a 40-minute period. I started off at the bottom end of the reservoir. A few casts, moved up. A few more casts, moved up. And yeah, I ended up getting a little surprise fish as well, a small roach. But it was off before I could even bring it to the bank. It was only a small one. So on to the final fish. And again, it was a case of... I cast it out, I said some magic words, and the next minute, the fish was on. I should bottle it and sell it.
Come on, one more, and we're on. You got the net, Thomas?
So just one bad thing about today, the wind. It affected Thomas's camera as well as my own. I'll have to get some doogles to put over them to try and reduce the wind factor itself. But I thoroughly enjoyed today. I had the opportunity to go out. I did want to fish something else, but it wasn't going to work. The water is still murky. It's like pea green soup. So, as I said, what it's like down in the depths, I don't know, but I don't think the fish are there. They will adapt. They will come higher up in the water. So they'll get some light, they'll get some security, and they're going to take off the top, which they did today. Surprised me that rainbows love bibios as much as they do. At RFF, it's usually the brown trout, although we do have rainbow and blue trout in there. But anyway, who's complaining? It's just me and my days out, and let's thank you all for watching it. And until next time, look after yourselves.